Hello, Internet, and welcome to the Free-to-Play Cast, episode 129. We're recording on February 25th. You'll be watching it on the 26th. Why are we recording a day late? I just got my ass back from vacation. That's why there was no show last week.
Lazy.
Hey, I got a lot of stuff done. But before we get to that, you know him. Here he is. He hosted the site for a whole week, and it didn't burn down. Jason Winter!
So I don't get it. Do you not know how to vacation? Because you said you got a whole lot of stuff done, but it's vacation, man.
Yeah, so here's the deal about my February vacation. So what happens is my in-laws are huge snowbirds,
that
right?
ends it right there.
Right.
Yeah.
My in-laws are huge snowbirds, so they fly out of Pennsylvania and they live in Florida for the entire month of February every year.
Smart.
And then 1 week of that month, my wife, their daughter, and our kids, they go and meet them. And of course, I'm always invited to come and spend the week with them too, but I usually am in some type of theater production in February, so I don't usually go. But this time, I'm in a theater production, so I couldn't go, but I did take a week off of the day job. And from MMO Bomb, because I had builders and stuff coming to the house, and I occasionally was able to get on, and you and I, a couple messages back and forth, and got Free-to-Play Weekly posted and stuff. But yeah, so I had builders here. You know, we did a lot of work in the kitchen. We did a lot of work redoing the bathroom. I was installing light bars and wall mounting TVs and repainting the second floor and the stairwell. So I got a ton of stuff done. And then pretty much right after we record this, I've got to fly to the airport. Well, drive to the airport because the family will be flying back in and I got to pick them up. So
you know what'll make the story even better is if when you insert in pictures of your new kitchen and whatever while you're doing this talk.
Right. No, that's not going to happen.
That might have already happened if you're watching this. It may have already happened.
No, that's not going to happen. I'm not in the habit of showing pictures of where I live.
Oh, if you want to see Mike's kitchen.
Right. Click on the annotation below if you want to see the before and after pictures. It was the kitchen was a total mess. We're totally getting off topic, but that's okay. With the kitchen, when we bought the house, the kitchen was already outdated. It's an older house when we bought it like 10 years ago. And so the kitchen was already outdated at that point, and we always meant to, redo it and everything, but we never did. So now it's like horribly outdated. It looks much better. The bathroom was all shades of just pink. The entire frickin' room was pink. Pink tile surrounding the tub and the shower, pink tile on the floor 3/4 of the way up, and then this fleur-de-lis wallpaper. Yeah, it was bleh. So it's totally done. Looks great, but that's not what we're here to talk about. Let's get over and start talking about some free-to-play news. On this episode of This Old House. All right. So first up today, and Jason, you're going to take over this one and play host for a minute. While I was gone this week, Nosgoth, from our friends at Square Enix, introduced a new human class called the Vanguard. We got the emails today. It is officially released today.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Yeah, I just got the email maybe an hour before we started because there was a little bit of a delay. From when they originally were going to release it. But the Vanguard is now in the game, a new human class. You got to check it out ahead of time. You posted a video and an article. Give us like an overview first of the Vanguard itself.
Like I said in the article, in Nosgoth, vampires are more melee and humans are ranged, but the Vanguard plays a little bit like a short range, almost melee-esque kind of human, because he's got his shield, which is, that's the big thing about him, is uses that to deflect a lot of damage. And his axes, or like Kama or whatever he throws, are not real accurate in long range. So he's much more of an up-front kind of bruiser kind of guy, which you might expect from something called the Vanguard. So he's able to mix it up better in toe-to-toe with melee, with the vampires. That's really his main thing. He's got some stuns, got like a short-range buff and everything, so much more of a close-quarter fighter than the humans, which generally want to keep their distance from the vampires.
Now, we've been playing a lot of Nosgoth lately, actually. I streamed it, and you jumped in on Bomb Live a week and a half ago, and then, yeah, you said you've been playing a lot of it since then, too. Mm-hmm. And so this sounds like a pretty big departure from the rest of the human classes, which is stay away from everything. Group up and get the hell away from everything.
You still want to some extent. When I played it, of course, as it always seems, I was playing. When I played against it, it seemed like I bring my tyrant, my big, heavy fighting vampire, just go in and bash a Vanguard and melee. He's got a shield up, so it's like doing nothing to him. Then when I play a Vanguard, I do the same thing. I put my shield up, and either I put it down for a second to try to attack, or someone else jumps me from the side, and I feel like I still get my ass kicked. So It probably is really tough to play, or really good to play, but kind of tough if you're not experienced with it.
What about from the other side? You got to attack as the vampires and play against the Vanguard. What happened there? What was different? What felt, obviously you're going up against like a tanky type person, which the humans didn't really have until now. How'd that change the vampire strategy?
Well, it's interesting that we would have occasionally. Actually, I played against two Vanguards on the one team. Out of 4 characters, 2 were Vanguards. I had this one time when I was pounding on him, pounding against his shield, but then the humans behind him, were shooting at me. So I was like, "Well, this sucks." so it almost introduces, almost like a trinity from an MMO standpoint, because the Vanguard also does some healing as well. So he's kind of almost like a paladin in a way.
Interesting. What about balancing?
Well, I've said this in general. Like, when I looked at my stats the other day, I saw that like probably 4 out of 5 matches I was playing against, the vampires were winning. So maybe that's their way of introducing this as a general balance in general for the humans. Try to beef them up a little bit. Maybe that's why it's been that way, because it's still an open beta, so they're still developing, still adding stuff. And I'm hoping that maybe the Vanguard will help tweak things in general more towards the human horde. I only played 2 matches, so I don't know exactly how perfectly balanced he was and everything, but that might help a little bit in evening out that balance a bit.
Yeah, and I'm going to show a little footage here of the Vanguard as we talk about it. He's a beefy mofo, ain't he?
Yeah, well, for whatever reason, the thing I noticed most was when I was sprinting, I just noticed him panting a lot more. He was really beefy, kind of.
Just generally out of breath.
Yeah, well, I play the Alchemist, who's all female characters. So they're a little more gentle in that sound, but whatever.
It does look like there's still some speed there, though. Like,
yeah, well, I think they all have the same run speed. The armor doesn't slow them down or anything. But that was something I noticed too when I was first playing, because of the short range of my missiles.
Oh, you got killed by James Blonde. Oh, come on!
In the first match, I don't know if it was in this, but twice in the first match, I got him down to like 5 hit points. He had nothing left on his health bar, and it just came so close. Yeah, he was the one playing the Vanguard who was really good and just trashing me almost every time. But later on, I got my revenge.
You better have gotten your revenge. All joking aside, James is a good guy. James does some really nice stuff online, and I enjoy his content. Yes, it's a different site, but you can't lose to James Blonde. Come on.
I know, that was my goal basically throughout the whole match.
In a video we're going to put up on our site. Oh.
Just watch later. I kill him later, okay? Jeez, man.
So it looks like, too, I'm seeing the vampires trying to use some of their CCs, and they're being broken. Was there some type of break CC mechanic the Vanguard have?
No, CCs in general are pretty short in that game, I found. Like, I'll often have it where I'll fire off my CC, and then almost in the time it takes me to recover from the animation, the humans have already recovered, or vice versa with vampires. So I'm a little iffy. I mean, on the one level, you don't want it to be all about CC where you're totally stun locked all the time, so I get that. But that does seem like that. The one move that I did make that I talked about in the article was and I got a screenshot of it just as he's leaping at me, was one of the Reavers jumping at me, and I pull up my shield just in time and he bounces off. That's something you don't get in any of the other classes for humans.
Well, like a recoil type thing?
Yeah. Just like I said, just as he jumped at me, I mean, if you look at the screenshot on the site, he's coming at me as I'm throwing an axe, and I get my shield up just immediately thereafter. And it was glorious.
I don't know. I kind of dig it. I don't know if it would be the type of class I would play.
Well, for me, being crappy at like really close, if you already know you're bad at like long range sniping and that sort of thing, which is what a lot of the humans do, which is why I play Alchemist usually, it might be okay because you're not really so much. You're not being asked to do that long range kind of stuff. You're more up for. That's kind of why I play the Tyrant too. He seems like the. I mean, granted, all the vampires are melee, but he seems even more tanky and more close quarters than the other ones. So if that's your playstyle, if you're not going to be a long range sniper, he's probably a pretty good choice.
So is this your new class then? When you're humans?
The Alchemist, I'm still going to stick with that for a while, but I'll probably give it a little more of a shot once I feel like I've gotten a little more tired of the Alchemist.
Some of these animations look a little slow too.
Yeah, that might be again, beta, whatever, but.
Yeah, it looks like there's a bit of a delay in trigger versus impact as far as the ability goes. I don't know. It's definitely a welcome addition to the humans. I think they really did need something that could get in there and maybe stand a little bit longer.
Yeah. I wish he had a little more hit points though. That's the only thing. I think all the humans have the same health. Might be neat if he had a little bit more.
Yeah, it kind of makes
that might be a perk
sense.
you can buy if you really wanted to tweak them that way. I'm not sure.
You're doing well here. Now you're on a little streak going here. It's like you actually know how to play.
So you're watching the part where I'm playing the Vanguard?
Yeah, you're playing the Vanguard right now. He looks like the Tyrant from Resident Evil without the bladed arm.
I have to say that is something that bothers me a little about Nosgoth. Some of the humans look so grim and nasty. I sometimes think they're enemies when I'm playing a human and I shoot at them.
Oh man, I still just want a Legacy of Kain or a Soul Reaver game to come out. Hey, don't, yeah, me, don't do that. I enjoy Nosgoth. I'm mediocre at it at best.
It's a nice game. It's not a game for everyone. I'm not saying it's the next great thing or whatever, but I've enjoyed it. It's kind of fun. Just something a little different to try for a while.
Well, if you want to check it out, it's available now. You can head on over to Nosgoth's site and get downloaded. And if you're already downloaded, then go ahead and check out the Vanguard. Let us know what you think. For me, I like that it's an addition there, and I would appreciate a good Vanguard in my human group, but it's not going to be the class I'm playing. Jason, sounds like you're still going to be sticking to Alchemist with maybe the occasional Vanguard thrown in.
Pretty much, yeah.
Check it out. Let us know what you think Nosgoth's Vanguard in the comments below, and we'll share them next week on the show. All right, next up here. This one's I don't have footage for this, because you don't really can't really have footage of Kickstarter.
Except for like the 1 minute video that we had, yeah.
Right. Now, we're going to talk about a game in particular here just to kind of set up the discussion, but I don't really want to spend too much time on the game itself because we don't know a whole hell of a lot about it yet. And to be quite honest, at least to me, it looks like a handful of other things that are already out there. Yeah. I'm looking at you, Wakfu, and Dofus. So the Duelyst is kickstarting, or has been kickstarting their campaign. They did it already a while ago for their turn-based strategy combat game. Yeah, card gamey thingy. Great. So no problem. They do their Kickstarter thing, and they get fully funded, right? They had reached their goal.
Double, actually.
They doubled their goal. And originally in the Kickstarter stuff, they were going to be a pay-to-play game. You would have to buy the box to play it, or the digital download, or whatever the hell you want to do. However, at that time, they made a, shall we say, a very pointed comment about free-to-play and why they weren't considering it. This was Keith Lee, that's the team lead, told Rock Paper Shotgun, quote, "Free-to-play just doesn't fit this team's vision for this sort of game, and he actively wants to avoid anything that could be even construed as pay-to-win." That's pretty clear, right? I mean, there's no real ambiguity on that type of statement. No, we don't want free-to-play because this type of game, it just doesn't work. And that's fine. That happens. That's why there's still buy-to-play games.
And that's why some people backed it, because they don't want a free-to-play game.
Exactly. For those of us that like them, fine. Some people just will stay away from them if it has free-to-play. No problem.
Some people will just show up on our comments and complain about every free-to-play game that exists. But anyway.
I saw your Twitter today, man. For crying out loud.
That guy even goes beyond hating free-to-play.
Yeah. So here's where things got dicey. The Duelyst has since changed to be a free-to-play game. And presumably they're going to monetize probably similarly to how like Hearthstone and games like that do it, where you buy booster packs and things like that. And of course, I'm sure if they want to avoid pay to win, you'll be able to acquire those in-game as well at a slower pace. Great, yeah, no problem. But the big problem here is that a lot of backers were not happy, huh? They were a bit miffed.
Yeah.
And so that's all we know about the game itself. But I wanted to take the opportunity. I know you watch things like this very closely because they interest you from an economical and sociological study standpoint, with Kickstarter and with other crowdfunding sources like that, GoFundMe, any of those sites. Do you really have a right to be angry when you pony up some money for something and a big change? This isn't a small change. I mean, this is an entire business model change. Where, you kind of understand when, hey, these are the art assets that we want to build, and then we get funded, and hey, we got to make a change to the way we're doing our art, so maybe the art style changes a little bit. Stuff like that, yeah, you kind of expect that, but this is a business model change after fully funded. Do people have a right to be angry, in your opinion?
I think you have a right to experience whatever emotion you like. Now, do you have the right to demand anything once you give money to a Kickstarter? The answer is no. Absolutely not. Not from a legal standpoint, not from a social standpoint, whatever. Yeah, once it's there, it's gone. Now, it makes you wonder how far could a team go? I mean, if they change it from a card game to a real-time strategy role-playing game, would that be something completely different? I don't know. There may be some levels at which Kickstarter might have to jump in or something. But something like this, yeah, you say it's more than just changing around the art assets. It's changing the business model. But there's not much you can do from any kind of legal standpoint or any other sort of thing. Yeah, you can be angry and you can certainly decide that you're not going to support the game anymore. You're not going to play it. You're not going to. Well, they don't have any. If they do another Kickstarter, Star Citizen with its 83 Kickstarters, you can decide not to be a part of another one of those. But if you're going to be angry and voice your opinion on the internet, not much anybody can do about that.
I don't know. I mean, I get the idea of you're a donor, right? You're not an investor. And if you have that mentality, you need to drop that one right away, because it just doesn't apply in any way, shape, or form. You're a donor. Just the same way somebody else on Kickstarter is trying to raise money for somebody's surgery. You're a donor. You don't get a say in what happens to that surgical procedure, just like you don't get a say to what happens in the game. I get that aspect of it, but I hesitate to put that blanket on it of you're a donor, frickin' deal with it. Mm-hmm. Because to me, yeah, there is a point where what you're donating for isn't what they're going to deliver in any way, shape, or form anymore. Right. And they took your money based on I want to say promise, but that's a bad word.
But you're saying not in any way, shape, or form. It's like, okay, it is still the same game, basically. So that's the question: is changing from free to play to pay to play, or the other way around? Is that changing it so radically?
To me, yes. In this particular instance, yes. Because now you're telling me as the consumer that ponied up $50. Oh, I really like this. It's $50, and in my $50 reward, I don't get a copy of the game. That's okay. I'll buy it for $20 when it comes out. But that's cool because I'll have everything and I'll be able to play it. And with this type of change, now not only are you changing the overall arcing business model of it, but you're changing what I have available to me without giving you more money. Where previously when I gave you that money, I had the expectation of, I'm going to have a full game. It's going to be whatever, $19.99, $29.99 when it comes out, and I'm going to have to pay for it. But once I pay for it, I have the full game. Now, in this respect, you're telling me that I don't. Without visiting the cash shop or sinking inordinate amounts of time into it. You're changing not just the business model, but how I'm going to receive the game when it comes out. And this one's a little gray area for me. I'm not saying that this one's as black and white as, you didn't deliver what you said you were going to deliver. But my question comes in and is, yeah, okay, then you have to look to Kickstarter to police those types of things. And what exact types of changes qualify as, look, you should probably consider giving refunds right now because you've changed this initial thing so much that it's not even what you represented initially. That's where we start getting into a huge gray area on who polices it and where's the lines.
Not to mention that money's probably already been spent on the development and everything, so it's not like it's there for them to just hand out. But yeah, you're right. I mean, I think that it would have to be I disagree. I think it would have to be a greater change than this to really have any kind of legal ramifications. Would have Kickstarter step in. I think they'd have to change the game far more significantly than just the payment model.
Yeah, to me, this one's right on the line. As far as I don't see it as,
I don't even think it's that close.
I think it's right on the line. Because you are changing an expectation of the finished product, not a part of the finished product. So if you're mad about it, I get it. I totally get it. If you're upset about it, is there a part of me that says you're a donor, deal with it? Yeah, because it's right on the middle for me. Is there a part of me that totally understands if this is now a totally different product financially for you and you want out, should you be entitled to money back? I want to say no on that one. I think if you start getting into this should trigger a refund and this should trigger a refund, then the whole system just collapses anyway, because anybody's going to start claiming that this impacted me more than I thought, I should get a refund. But I'm certainly willing to hear your argument for a refund on this type of change.
Here's something interesting. I just glanced at the comments page of the Kickstarter again. And they actually have posted, for those wishing for a refund, we'll have details in our next update. We're still working out the details. Thank you for your patience.
Then good on them.
So, okay.
Yeah, definitely good on them. At least they're recognizing that, this is probably a bigger change than most people are going to be comfortable with, and we'll talk about. It doesn't say they're going to issue refunds. It just says if you're asking for one, we'll have an update soon, and good on them for doing it.
I think I want
to. But there's nothing in place that is going to force that company to do that either.
Right. I want to say they had something where they were, of course, if you were getting a full copy of the game, you were now getting cash shop money or whatever. So I'd have to take a look at that, but I thought that was mentioned. Which is the absolute least they'd almost have to do. Yeah,
well, good on Duelyst for doing it. I mean, that's at least it's showing a little bit of empathy for people that ponied up money to help them out.
But now, of course, it makes you wonder, the next Kickstarter that comes along, what can you change on it before people are going to demand it? Because people are going to demand a refund when you, like you said, when you change one letter in the title or something, people are going to demand a refund. Remember when EverQuest Next Landmark just became Landmark? People were demanding refunds for that.
Did people actually demand refunds for that? I mean, I know people complained about it and things, but to me, it was the best thing they could have done. I was so sick of sitting on this show or other shows with you where we had to EverQuest Next Landmark or EverQuest Next. Which one are you talking about?
Yeah, exactly.
So it was the best thing they could have done. I don't know. Kickstarter's kind of a dicey thing for me. I do support a lot of stuff on Kickstarter, but I'm very careful. I'm very careful with what I pony up money for. I'll be honest, while I'm interested vaguely in Star Citizen, I haven't given them a dime. Because to me, the model and what they intend to do with it isn't fleshed out to the point where I know what, or can at least anticipate what I might be getting when it's all done. Would I have ponied up for Duelyst? No, but that's just because there's other games that do a lot of this stuff already out there that are free to play. Do I think free to play is a better option for them based on that? Of course, yes. Yes, I do. It'll get them a broader audience than me looking at it and saying I could pay $20 for that, or I could go play this for free for a little while. Well, I'll play the free one. So I think ultimately it's the best decision for them. It just makes me question, where the hell is that line, or where should it be, and who should police it? If you leave it up to Kickstarter, we're screwed.
Yeah, pretty much.
We're screwed. Do you think there should even be a line?
There probably should, but it's just going to be so subjective. Like I said, if they completely change what the game was, then sure, but I don't feel like this is such a radical change necessarily that they should get legally involved.
Wow, you're a tough dude, man. You are a tough dude. You've never supported anything on Kickstarter or any of those sites?
No.
Really?
You know me. I don't even like games that are in beta.
I would have thought you'd pony up money hand over fist for card games.
No.
For card games.
God, no.
You love card games. You love them.
I don't.
Not computer card games, like actual trading card, collectible card games.
I don't.
You love them.
It's been a long time.
They're your favorite. They're your favorite.
You don't know me. You don't know me.
Moving on. Black Desert Online brought in, check it out, $2 million. They can't see you showing two because right now we're showing footage of
they can hear your
Black.
phone.
They can hear my phone. Hey, it's my office. So, brought in $2 million in its first official week of being open. Now, obviously, we're talking revenue here, not profits. I think everybody understands that, but just to be clear, the game still has to pay for its own development and everything. It's just out. So, it's interesting that I broke this down one way, you broke it down another, and both of us were like, maybe this isn't as impressive as you first think. Because you hear $2 million in a week, and you're like, damn, that's a lot of money. I wish I had $2 million for anything in a week. Setting aside the fact that the game's development isn't paid for yet, that's an impressive number. That's a big number.
Like
yeah,
that's
sure
like
seems
$100 million a year.
Right. So we broke it down. I broke it down one way. You broke it down another way. And actually, I don't think I'm as initially impressed as I was when I first saw the headline.
Yeah, same here. Same here.
So what's the deal here?
Because you said, you look at it in terms of like $15 sub for most MMOs, launched with about 130,000 players at launch, which, that's okay, but
Yeah, I mean, if you break it down as a subscription, and there are subscription options in this game, but it is a free-to-play game, obviously. But if you break it down in terms of just sheer subscriptions, no box price, nothing, just a $15 a month subscription fee. If you break down 2 million in the first week, that means 133,333 subscribers signed up at launch and at least paid you for their first month. Which makes sense that you would get all that money in the first week, right? I mean, because everybody paid their subscriptions.
Etc. The only thing I'll say is maybe because it was like the last week of the year and people were doing Christmas stuff, maybe is not as much. But
true. But when you think about it in those terms, that's kind of a small number for a launch.
Yeah, for something that you think of as being a big deal. It's certainly very good for a less than AAA kind of game. But yeah, for something that a lot of people are looking forward to as a really big deal, that's not that impressive.
Especially at launch, when the hype for your game is at its peak and everybody that's interested in it is going to try it if they can.
And only 6.2% of those people will be around after the first year.
Right, according to your super data information. So yeah, I broke it down that way, and I'm still impressed. I mean, I didn't expect that much money in 1 week from Black Desert, particularly since it's not even available globally yet. Right? We're still talking about a game that's only released in the East. But when I broke it down that way, the numbers were, You broke it down a different way, and the numbers were still,
Numbers were even worse, yeah. Because if you think about it, everybody is. If this were like a launch of a sub game, box game, or whatever, if that made $2 million in the first week, divide that by $60 a box, that's only about 33,000 players, which sounds really mediocre.
Yeah, and granted, it's a free-to-play game, but still, I mean, if it had a fee of $60, $60, 33,000
if something
copies.
Like WildStar had said we had 30,000 players in our first week, that would seem kind of crappy, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah, if WildStar had released numbers in week 1 saying we sold 33,000 digital copies, we'd all be saying, well, when is it going free-to-play, a lot earlier than we did.
They wish they had 33,000 players still. Anyway.
Well, this isn't even players when you translate it the way you did. This is just boxes sold. Thing.
WildStar said we made $2 million our first week. We go, that's really sucky.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Yeah, that's pretty bad. But, but what does it mean when you factor in that it's free to play? That could mean that's a very big number because most of their players paid nothing to get into it.
Well, sure, but those people aren't helping. I mean, that's not what they really want to hear. They want to hear the money that comes in. So.
Well, they want to hear the money that comes in, but if you're making $2 million a week from your cash shop, you're in good shape.
If that lasts the whole year. Which,
yeah,
again, like
if
said,
it stays
right
up.
At the start, this is probably the peak. So.
Yeah, I mean, if it stays up, $2 million a week from your cash shop and a couple of subscriptions here and there, that's most publishers will take that. NCSoft will take that in a heartbeat right now and hand you WildStar as a receipt. I don't know.
Can I just buy a WildStar in the cash shop, like the game, the franchise?
I actually played WildStar again before I went on vacation, and you laughed at me for it. Because I accidentally sent you my password.
That's right.
I thought I was typing it into WildStar, and I typed it into Skype. And I was like, well, I'll be changing my WildStar password. You need Google Authenticator anyway. And not like you want to hack my WildStar account.
Yeah.
So, I mean, at the end, I want to say good on them. That's fine. Good for them. However, if we assume, based on other double and triple A MMOs. That's funny. You never hear the term double A MMO.
No.
It's only it's triple A or bust. It's triple A
or indie at least.
Right, indie. If you assume that they've had a comparable budget to other MMOs of this ilk, that would probably put them between 25 and 125 million. We'll give them a nice big window, right? It's not a $200 or $300 million job like Star Wars: The Old Republic or anything like that. But it's not a half-assed job. I'm going to put them, we'll just say $100,000, $150,000. I'll overestimate a little bit here. I think it's less than this, but we'll say $150 million. $2 million a week takes a while to gain your investment back and then start turning a profit. So I don't know. I'm not as impressed with these numbers as initially I was after digging into it and starting to think about cost. Because they had this odd statement in there too, didn't they?
Yeah, I don't know exactly what it meant. What was it?
They had like this odd
Due to Dom's
qualifier.
accounting standards, the actual figure was basically about $500,000.
Yeah,
So I'm
like
not sure exactly how that. What
due
that
to
meant.
Dom's accounting standards, as in what they owe for the game's development still. Like, what the hell does that even mean?
Kickbacks to the CEO.
Right? Everybody's getting a little kickback. All right, well, let us know what you think. $2 million for the first opening week. Again, it's not worldwide, so maybe that is impressive, right?
But is it going to be bigger in other regions than it is in Korea? So
I don't know. I think there's a huge audience in the West looking for this one. That doesn't mean they'll stay. I think there's every bit as big an audience in the West looking forward to Black Desert as there was for Arcade. Now, Arcade was, it is what it is, but I think there's every bit as big an audience that is waiting for Black Desert in
go
the
ahead
West.
and think that.
Oh, come on. You can't even give them that. You can't even give them that there's people that want to play it.
Has any Korean MMO ever been bigger in the West than it has been in the East?
No, oh, no. I'm not claiming bigger. No. I'm not claiming bigger.
Equal.
I'm saying there's as big an audience in the West interested in this as there was a big audience in the West interested in Arcade. Not comparing it to their not comparing it to their Korean audiences at all.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Now I'm glad you're with me. No, I wasn't comparing it to their Korean audiences at all. So 2 million in Korea and surrounding areas, maybe that is good. Maybe that is good. Let us know what you think. Put it in the comments below on the YouTubes or over here on mmobomb.com. If you're on the website, check out all the other articles. We just put up a great editorial Jason wrote about esports being legitimate or not, with a few sources thrown in there. So nice stuff. Check it out. Also a bunch of giveaways going on there. Sign up while you're there, mmobomb.com. Let's slide over and do the weekly bombs. You like that Barry White voice there? Weekly bombs. Yo, baby.
Smooth jazz with our weekly.
All right, my bomb is a dub bomb to a great vacation. I got a lot of work done on the house, and the wife and kids weren't here, so it was frickin' quiet.
What about the dog? Was the dog still there?
The dog was there, but all
So
the
it couldn't have been
dog
that quiet.
all the dog ever did was curl up right against my hip and go to sleep while I was sitting on the couch watching the big screen TV, had the surround sound on. I watched everything in surround sound. Everything.
So you got the new kitchen, you got a big screen TV. Can I come live with you?
I already had the big screen and the surround
I
sound.
don't care. I don't
Yes.
care. I still want to come live.
Yeah, you can come live. It'll make recording this a hell of a lot easier. Sure, why not? Just come on. We'll pull up a chair right here. We'll just do it in one frame.
I have your address, so I'm going to be on your doorstep like next Tuesday.
Other people have my address too. DCUO sent me a Valentine's Day thing. Like, what the? It was a Wonder Woman mug. I don't even know where these.
They know what you lack.
It had M&Ms in it that said like "Be mine" and stuff, and I was like, "You're not even Sony Online anymore. I can't be yours." Anyway, great vacation. It was quiet. I watched everything in surround sound because you don't really get to do that when the kids are in bed and stuff. So it's like midnight here, and I've got the surround sound jacked up. None of the neighbors complain. Great vacation. Dub bomb to some relaxing and getting some work done. What about you, sir?
I'm going to give a bomb to Skyforge.
What? Whoa, what?
I know.
What?
I know, because I've been so, like, meh about it.
Yes, you have.
It's an MMO, yeah, whatever. It's got stuff. It's got classes. It's got dungeons, whatever. But the last couple of things they've been posting about it actually got me kind of interested. They did a thing on their Pantheons, I think, last week, talking about, and of course, when I first started reading this, it's like, okay, it's a guild. You have a guild hall. Okay, whatever. Same old, same old. But some of the stuff you can do with your Pantheon, with the Pantheon Hall or whatever it's called, Champion Tower, I don't remember what it's called. Being able to look around and find out where stuff is going on. These things they call Pantheon Wars. It's going to be these big like guild versus guild battles that have not just a PvP element, but a PvE element. So you can kind of incorporate everybody in your guild into it. So that sounds pretty cool and a little more varied than what you tend to get in a lot of games. And then a couple weeks before, they had their skill system, which we did you wrote a little bit on, and that looks interesting too. So they're actually finally doing stuff that makes them seem different from your typical MMO, and I'm actually getting kind of interested in it finally.
Wow.
It'll change next week when they introduce something else. I'm like, yeah, whatever. I'll just flip back and forth.
I'm flabbergasted. I think we should get Spunkify on the line right now and let him know that you are even remotely interested in Skyforge.
Maybe if he sent me a coffee mug with Wonder Woman on it, that'd be more interesting.
I'll have to bring it down for next week's show now. I don't. It was,
You gotta have it. You just gotta have it.
there was, and we do. I mean, Jason's been in this game for a long time too. You get it. You get these different things from media outlets. Usually, to be like fully clear here, they don't ever really come from, at least most times, they don't come from the developers or the publishers themselves. They always come from some third-party PR company. And they're always, they're not worth anything, right? It's not like somebody's trying to buy you off with a Wonder Woman mug. It ain't gonna happen. But it's just like neat little things, and occasionally you get one, you're like, oh, that's really cool, and not a lot of people are gonna have that. Shelf, and it sits there forever. But some of them, like DCUO, their company sent me around Halloween a pumpkin, a real pumpkin. Like, it came in a cardboard box, like this big, and they sent me a big pumpkin. Now, I already had like 6, because Jason, I go crazy with the carvings. I do like that really detailed, takes 6 hours to do stuff. So I already had 6, and I already did them. They were outside. And then I get this new one, and I'm like, well, I can't just throw it away. I got to carve it. What am I going to carve on it? But luckily, also in the box was a cheap pumpkin carving kit. Like, I have this professional wooden set, whatever. Okay. It's like a $5 plastic job thing. And stencils for DCUO logos and stuff. And I was like, nope, forget it. I'm done. I'm not. No.
Oh, you didn't want a Wonder Woman pumpkin?
I didn't do it. And then for Valentine's Day,
if I was living with you, I would have done that.
For Valentine's Day, they sent me this coffee mug, and it just has Wonder Woman in text on it, and it's red and has the yellow text, and that's it. No pictures or anything. It just says Wonder Woman. It was stuffed with purple and pastel blue M&Ms. There was like a 4 gig pen drive, which I'll use that. I mean, I use those all the time. And a thing of chapstick. It's just like the weirdest compilation of stuff that you get from some of these companies.
Chapstick?
Yeah.
The rest I kind of get.
Whatever. It was Valentine's Day, dude. Kissing.
Well.
Chapstick.
I guess they couldn't really send you lipstick, could they?
Well, I would hope not. From the viewers, Guy Random says on our topic last week of the mighty quest for epic loot. Guy Random says, Mighty Quest for Epic Loot is just downright boring. You play it a little, but then you basically hit a wall. You won't be able to progress until you count down some serious dollars. Replayability is kind of crappy as well. They try and let players create the maps, which results in a one-dimensional gameplay experience. 3 out of 10, perhaps the kids will enjoy the graphics and building their castles with their mom's credit card.
Yeah, I mean, I played it on my Bomb Live last week, and even after that, and I played it for a couple hours before, and even by the end of my Bomb Live, I was starting to get a little bored with it. It's just like, it is kind of the same thing over and over. The castles are short, and so you spend like almost as much time in your menu system between them. It's just like, I just don't think it's something I'm going to stick with.
Go ahead, sir.
All right. Killzone 25B.
And I think Killzone 25B here meant A-bomb. Reading this.
Let's see. Well, now he says... Hang on, he says, "Da bomb if some of the
Oh, okay, I see.
Right.
Yeah.
Da bomb if some of the Asian MMORPGs I've been waiting on for so long come out sometime soon in the West, like Tree of Savior, Blade and Soul, Period Chronicles, Black Desert. Maybe if we are lucky, Soul Worker."
See, somebody's waiting for Black Desert, Jason.
Yeah, the one guy. No. A bomb if these games never come to the West or take forever. Look at you, Phantasy Star Online 2. Oof. Frankly, I think Sega needs to quit yanking the Western fans around and either just finally release PSO2 in the West or just cancel it, because I'm sick of hearing it's coming, hold on a little longer, it's still coming all the time. And I read an interview just last week with the guy who had been president of Sega through like 96, and he basically went on and said they've just been horrible the last 2 decades since I left. So.
Well, we all tend to do that, don't we?
Well, sure.
That company sucks now that I'm gone. Michael Lucelle says, A-bomb to Albion Online. 1, I bought a Founders Pack and issues with purchasing it. Something with my debit not accepting the purchase. The support just referred me that it's my bank. Not true. I transfer money from debit to my credit card and allows it to pay that way all the time. 2, I really feel that Albion is grind worse than Korean imports. Well, that's... ouch. I feel like I'm having to get somewhere by grinding fame for everything. That's a pretty bold statement.
I want to play a little of Albion Online. Just the whole permadeath losing stuff just was enough to turn me off. I actually kind of like the system of like skills or advancement. It seemed kind of interesting.
Game doesn't appeal to me at all.
Okay. All right.
It's my Skyforge.
Oh, okay.
Oh wait, you like Skyforge now.
I like it now, yeah.
I
didn't like Nosgoth originally, too, remember?
That's true. I'm changing you. I'm an influence on you. You're up.
All right, this comes from Frelms. It says, Dub on to Digital Extremes. I was looking over my receipts and noticed that they have kept their Prime Access packs at the same price locally, even though the dollar has gone up over 60 cents local from the time I did my first purchase in August of last year. Glad to see they make sure you can get the pack without having to sell your firstborn here. Okay.
Zabinic says, I agree with Jason Winter. Oh, man, why do I have to read this one? I agree with Jason Winter 110% about dungeons. Last week we talked about should they be in games anymore. 2 weeks ago. Play a dungeon 10 to 15 times just to get that one item I want. I hate it.
Yeah. Screw you. Screw you, Mike. You and your dungeon-loving friends.
That's all right. You get to read this one.
All right. Matthew Ashton says, Game Globe have a future. It was just not marketed well.
I would agree. I would agree with that. We mentioned Game Globe when we talked about
I remember mentioning it
Mighty Quest for Epic Loot. I totally agree with Matthew there.
All right, that future was just not marketed well. Also, giving this game a 6, are you freaking serious? Jesus, you're easy to please. I bet if you see some side boobs, you blow your load. But in all seriousness, this game is at best a 4. They had years to fix this game. It's still nowhere near complete. At best, it's just playable. This is a 4. Is he talking about Mighty Quest?
Yeah, I honestly, until I read Matthew's comment, I didn't even remember giving it a rating. And then, I had to go back and I was like, oh, well, shit, I did give it a 6. Matthew, I got to take the criticism. You're absolutely right. 6 was a little generous. I kind of used the Game Informer 7 is average. Out of 1 to 10, and so I gave it a 6. But Matthew, totally warranted criticism. I apologize. You're right. I think a 4 is probably more accurate. On the side boob thing, no, actually, I quite the other way on it when it comes to games. Just see the stir 4 years ago about Scarlet Blade's advertising. God.
Scarlet Blade is like side boob, front boob, under boob,
right.
every boob. So.
But Matthew, you're right. Criticism accepted. I apologize. You're definitely right. 4. Sammy Fiction says, I played the game a while ago, talking about Mighty Quest for Epic Loot, when it was still new in closed beta, and it was fun back then, but yeah, it got boring fast. Then after a year, the game had more stuff added. They announced that cool chick character, and I really wanted to play the game again. Took me a few months to remember about it. That's always good. Publishers love hearing that. And actually install it and try it out. When I saw that you have to buy the frickin' character with real money and there was no way to match to get that much currency for free, I just quit the game without even starting it again. A few days ago, though, I tried again. It was kind of fun at the start with some new stuff to check out, but then you try to defeat castles and every third or fourth castle is just filled with those barricades that you can only buy with real money currency, and the whole castle is filled with stuff you shouldn't and really possibly can't get without paying. I can imagine how the highest ranked castles are. Only people who can buy everything can compete, and I'm sure you can't even get to that point of the game. You will just the language that people dropped on this game, right? You will just freaking quit the game after like 15 levels because the game becomes straight up annoying. I think we have an overwhelming consensus on this one, and I have no qualms with anybody's opinion on this one because they're all totally right in my book.
Like I said, I haven't had a chance to really see the pay-to-win aspect of it, but I think I'm just bored enough by it that I'm not going to get that far.
No question of the week last week, obviously, because we had no show. So your question of the week this week, would you be upset if a key component of a project you backed on Kickstarter changed after you made your donation? Why or why not? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure you leave your weekly bombs. D-bomb for something good, A-bomb for something bad. As you can see from mine, it doesn't even have to be about gaming. You want to vent about something? Do it on the show. Have a good time. Mr. Winter, where can everybody follow you, sir?
Find me on the Twitters at WinterInformal. Find me streaming twitch.tv/JasonWinter, blogging at jasonwinter.wordpress.com, and I even did a blog post last week about presidents, of all things. Not presidents who play video games or anything, just presidents.
Wow. And he likes Skyforge. Come on.
This week I do.
Come on over to mmobomb.com. Check out all the great articles and videos and features we've got running for you there. And of course, don't miss out on the giveaways. Some of them are exclusive to mmobomb.com, so you can't get them anywhere else. Hope you'll come over and visit. I'm Mike Byrne, aka Magic Man, saying stay safe. We'll see you on the servers.